Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here. This is episode 2 as I play through Crusader Kings 2 as the Earl of Westmoreland, the Clifford family. If you didn't see episode 1, there's a link in the description below that'll take you back to that episode. As I jump back in now, playing as the son of the first Earl that I began the first episode with, it is now 1323, and you can see that Scotland not only controls their own territory, they also now control almost all of Ireland. However, there is a rather large Scottish army here. So I guess this is actually not the Scots, but rather the Dunkeld family. Well, maybe that is the Scots, because they also, holy cow, that same dynasty also controls a good bit of France. So that's pretty cool. You can see down here the Plantagenets also control Aquitaine and all of England. So interesting developments, but none of that really concerns me. My immediate concern is that I am a 51-year-old Earl with 7 children, 3 of them not yet of age. My youngest daughter is married to my liege, the Duke of Cumbria. My son and heir is the Duke of Norfolk. So when I pass this down through him to his next child, we will not only control this territory here, Westmoreland, we will also control Norfolk, which is down here. So those are the kinds of things that I'm trying to set up through advantageous marriages. And so, things move kind of slowly, but eventually they really pay off if things are done well. My son Arthur looks like he died. Died of poor health at the age of 17 back in 1296. Or is that my sibling? No, that's my son. So that was quite a while ago. My son, the Duke of Norfolk, is 28 years old now. Son Geoffrey is 17. Son Richard is 7. Let's look at Geoffrey for a second. He's betrothed to the Princess Constance of England, the daughter of the king. So those are the kinds of things that really help moving forward. I've got a nice amount of prestige, but not a whole lot of gold. We do need to pick an ambition. I don't know exactly what I want to choose right now. Become Chancellor. Yeah, become Marshal, become Steward, improve martial ability, improve intrigue. Sure, let's want to become Chancellor. That's cool. All right, it's time for Princess Constance to marry my son. That's very cool. We're now married into the Plantagenet family. We do have to assign guardians to a couple of my children. We'll just go with whoever they suggest. And I've got an entire council to be appointed. So we're just going to appoint whoever has the best current skill in those areas. Oh, that's really good, my steward. That's going to help a lot with finances, to have a steward that's that skilled. Same with my chaplain. My chaplain's very good. Let's research cultural tech. My spy master's terrible. There's got to be somebody better for that job. Not really much better. Princess Al. Is that my wife? I think that's my wife. Yep. Let's go a scheming. We need to continue to try to fabricate these claims to Cumberland. And we're going to train troops so I can raise the size of my levy. Alright. Oh, my steward doesn't have a job yet. Collect taxes. It's always a dangerous thing to do, but I can press a weak claim to the Duchy of Meath, but also to the Kingdom of Denmark. I'm not really interested in doing that. Farmer told me how his boar had managed to break into his neighbor's hoggery, and the result was 7 small piglets. Now his neighbor demands compensation he can't afford, and they need me to tell them what to do. He should pay his neighbor. I'm going to gain the trait just. Excellent. Keeping an eye on things in Scotland. There's this massive fight going on between the army of Bishop David of England and the army of Prince Edgar of Scotland. And it looks like the English are going to win that battle. No, that was the Scottish army. The English got sent back with their tail between their legs. We finished our barracks in Appleby. What's our size of our army up to now? It's still right around 2,000. Looks like I can get slightly higher, but not by much. So my daughter Margaret de Clifford died after a period of illness. That's my 30-year-old daughter who's married to the Duke of Cumbria. The good news is she did produce an heir who's now the heir to the Duchy of Cumbria, so my grandson. But he won't be of my dynasty, so that doesn't really necessarily help me a whole lot. Let's take a look real quick at, oh, what's this? We've got another, oh, we're going to marry Agnes. Is Agnes my daughter? My sister, 34 years old. We can marry her to the Duke of Hampshire. He's finally of age at 16. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting marriage that I proposed there. But again, trying to get advantageous marriages all the way around as best I can. Ackfred of English Revolt has declared English Revolt League Independence War on King Edward II of England. Now, historically, the historical Edward II was a very weak king who did not do himself any favors and eventually was overthrown, eventually in favor of his son. It was mainly his wife who did it. His wife and her lover, I think it was Roger Mortimer, but eventually they kind of used Edward III, the young son, as the right to rule, but didn't really let him rule. And there's this really fascinating story about how Edward III sneaks into this castle in the middle of the night and takes Roger Mortimer and basically takes his kingdom in this kind of clandestine mission. And Edward III ends up becoming one of the greatest kings that England ever had, sat on the throne for a long, long time. Peter of English Revolt, so there's a lot of people rebelling right now against King Edward II. Let's take a look and see. Does he have? Yeah, Prince Edward. So he does. We do have an Edward III on the way, if it comes to that. A son was born to Roger de Clifford and Princess Wulfhide of the Holy Roman Empire, named Gregory. So I'm 53 years old now. Steward Geoffrey has some interesting ideas on how to improve the economy. Sure, let's do that. I'm stressed. All right, so let's take a look down here at the revolt against King Edward. And it looks like right now things are going pretty one-sided. In fact, that war's about to be over, it would appear. There's another war going here. There's two separate revolts happening at the same time. So I need a new chaplain. We'll appoint this bishop. Seems like a good idea. Constantly having to worry about guardians and all that kind of mundane stuff that really does have an important role to play in how I shape my future. Are we saying now I can put a claim on the Kingdom of England? Obviously not really a strong claim and not anything I'm interested in, especially with these other wars going on. This one's about to be over. Let's see what happens here. Edward's going to lose his kingdom is what's going to happen. My wife wants a nickname. Okay. You deserve a good name. The Festive, the Handsome, the Burden. Oh my gosh. That's so wrong. We'll make you the Festive. Why not? So it looks like the war is over, the rebellious war, and King Edward retains his throne. So that's interesting. A son was born to me. We can give him a name. What names do we already have for my sons? I have to look at that real quick. So I've got Duke Robert. I've got a son named Arthur who died. We've got Geoffrey, Richard, Nicholas. I've got a lot of children. And this wife is definitely rather fertile. And then this latest one. So we don't have a Robert, do we? No, Robert's the oldest. Okay. We don't have a Roger. Roger's another common name in this family, so we'll go with Roger. Oh, man, we had twins. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. We've got Constance, Catherine. Or Catherine's the one we just had. That's the only daughters I have. So Catherine's a good name. We'll go with Catherine. Twins. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9 children born to this guy. My goodness gracious, that's fantastic. Ah, to the just Earl Robert, blessings upon you and your house. My liege has seen fit to appoint me as steward of the realm. So that's very cool. Speaking of stewardship, I've got 500 gold. I got to pick a new ambition. What else can I pick? Let's improve our intrigue. Why not? We've got some money available to us here. How can we best spend it? I'd really like to be able to build a great work. It's so far off, and there's so many other things I could do to improve my realm without doing that. Oh, we're upgrading the university, are we? I don't remember doing that. I guess we're having a banquet. That's cool. Pretty inconsequential, but cool, I guess. What's going on here? Lancaster has improved their territory a little bit. So there still is a rebellion going on now by Peter. And I don't know what it is that he's hoping to accomplish with that. But we're going to find out soon because he's definitely winning. So I'm just kind of looking through my family here, and my half-brother Eustace, who's now 48 years old, his wife died back in 1316. So we're going to go ahead and arrange a new marriage for him, and we've got the 19-year-old Princess Gunhild of Norway. Seems like a good match. So let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Certainly a very advantageous marriage. Excellent. And now she has arrived in court. He does have a 16-year-old daughter that we can also find a marriage for. Now, this is kind of a, this is a tangential. This is my half-niece, so not a huge deal. But, boy, we got the Duke of Warwick available here. That's certainly a good possibility. In fact, I think we'll go with that. Let's go ahead, and I doubt we'll make that a matrilineal match, but we could certainly try. No, not going to happen. All right. Even so, marrying her off to the Duke of Warwick would be a big deal, so we'll go ahead and go that route for now. Looks like this latest rebellion is nearing its completion. You can see that they've got some large swaths of territory under their control. And I am now, let's see, we're into 1331. I'm 59 years old. I've got 630 gold, so we are amassing some nice wealth. There's just not a lot I can do with it. Princess Gunhild might fancy. This is my brother's wife that just came to court. Oh boy, no, not okay. Man, this family just has a thing for sleeping around with familial relatives. Another one of my sons just came of age, Richard. Let's go ahead and find a good marriage match for him. We've got the Duchess of Tangier. That's actually really cool. I don't know. Is that down in, that must be down in Spain. Duchess of Provence, Duchess of Island. That's Norwegian. She's 45, though. Yeah, that seems like Blanca might be the Duchess of Hesse. That's a good one, too. That's over in Germany. This one's already of age. We're going to go ahead and do this. That would actually put that dukedom into my dynasty, the Cliffords. So we're spreading out. This is great. Another pope. At the age of 78, my father-in-law, Kaiser Gerhard of the Holy Roman Empire, was slain by Doge Leon II of Ancona in a chaotic battlefield duel. Dang, that's harsh, man. So, let's take a look at, see my wife's father here. He was the Kaiser Gerhard the Just, 78 years old, fighting in a battlefield duel. And, of course, his father was... looks like that might have been her parents, but interesting. Very interesting. It's 1333. I am 62 years old. I've now seen two of my children die before me, my daughter Margaret at the age of 30, my son Arthur at the age of 17. But I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children, including Roger, who's just 6 years old, because I don't mess around and I keep having kids into my 50s. Now, the tricky part here is, of course, that because my son is a duke and in another realm, I have no control over his family as of yet. I will once I die. Maybe I should commit suicide or something. But I can't control things like who my grandchildren are married to. And you can see that in this case, my granddaughter is betrothed to Randolph Plantagenet, who, let's take a look at him real quick. His father was Earl Randolph, the Earl of Lancaster, the Earl of Leicester. His grandfather was Earl Edmund of Lancaster, and another great-grandfather then was King Henry of England. So, Henry III. So, very cool. That's a pretty important, prestigious family that we're potentially marrying into there. My beloved niece Joan is concerned that she is still not married. Well, we'll take care of that for you, Joan. Let's take a look and see which of my siblings that is. All right, this sibling, this one's gonna get married as soon as he becomes of age. I have a nephew here that we need to marry off, so let's go ahead and do that too. Who can we get into the House of Clifford? A princess in Aragon. There we go. Let's do that for him. Roger. Okay, Roger's got a bunch of kids. He's got a son. Here's Joan here, so let's go ahead and see who we can marry her off to. The Kagan of the Golden Horde, who's 9. No, but here's the Duke of Anjou. That's huge. I'd rather give that to one of my granddaughters. But if we wait around too long, he's going to end up with someone else. So we're just going to go with what we can here. Excellent. Something really interesting happened. It's 1334, and the Kingdom of Scotland has been dissolved. There is no Kingdom of Scotland anymore. Emperor Alexander the Confessor has destroyed the title Kingdom of Scotland. He is the Emperor of Alba, and he apparently also now controls England. So this is huge. There's no England, there's no Ireland, there's no Scotland. There is Alba. So let's take a look. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? He is the part of the House of Dunkeld. So this guy who was once the Scottish king is now the king of all of Britain and Ireland. That's fascinating. So what happened then to the King of England is the question. Is he still in there somewhere? Well, first of all, I want to look at myself, because does that mean that now he is my liege as well? So my direct liege is the Duke of Cumbria. And yeah, he now reports to the Emperor of Alba. Wow. England is no more. So I don't know what that means moving forward, but one would have to assume that the Plantagenets are done. Do they control any of this other? No, Alba is there too. So everything. I mean, the Plantagenets are out. I want to look at my family for a second and take a look and see if I can figure out where it is that the Plantagenets have gone. All right, so the easiest way to look at this is to look for my son Geoffrey, who's married to the daughter of the former King of England. And so here's King Edward the Just, formerly Edward the First, and it was his son. Where is he? His son John, who passed the kingdom to his son Edward II. Edward II died of pneumonia back in 1330, so I didn't even realize that happened. And so for the last 5 years, his son now is showing up as Prince Edward of Essex, Duke Edward of Essex. So he is a Prince of England, he's a commander of Alba, but he is no longer the king. So there you have it. Interesting things happening now. And so the Plantagenets, who only have just this daughter Elizabeth at this point, to carry on that part of the dynasty. Interesting stuff. The faithful prepare for war. A messenger approaches us with a letter from the Vatican, from the Vicar of Christ himself. He is asking us to prepare our men for a fight against the heathens and infidels to restore Christendom to the lost places of the world. So we're going up against Wallachia. The region is held by the heathen high chief Bulkadar of Moldavia, and it's time to return to Christianity once more. So I should consider preparing my men. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't think there's any reason whatsoever I'm going to be sending a force all the way over to modern-day Romania to fight. I'm infirmed, and now I'm wounded as well. I fell down the steps. So I'm facing what old men face, which is getting older and not being able to do things like I once did. So there it is. I've died. I have a new heir. I am now taken over, and here's what's great. Earl Robert of Westmoreland fulfilled the ambition to gain a title. So here we have it. Let's pause things for a second because this is cool now. I am no longer my father because my father is dead. I am me. Earl Robert of Norfolk, 41 years old. I now control not only this territory here, but let's take a look and show this by dynasty. There you have it. Our dynasty now controls this territory down here. Really? No, that's not right. Anyway, I'm the Earl of Norfolk, or the Duke of Norfolk. I'm the Earl of Westmoreland, so my territory has increased. Now I've just got to decide where I go from here. And the first thing, of course, is that Andrew, my 7-year-old son, is my new heir. And interesting, it's not letting me control him at the moment. Just another page. Okay. All right, so the tricky part that I'm dealing with right now is that though I am the Duke of Norfolk, I'm not really the Duke of Norfolk. It's a courtesy title because I'm married to the Duchess of Norfolk, I think is what's going on here. So I still have no control over Norfolk itself. That will happen when I inherit my title as Andrew. Andrew will inherit the County of Norfolk, the County of Suffolk, the County of Westmoreland, the Duchy of Norfolk. It's in him that I will officially hold those titles and actually have control. So in the meantime, I don't. So if I were to off my wife, Duchess Joan the Lame, that title would probably either pass to me or to my son. Probably to my son. So at that point, I probably would control it. So it may be that it's time for our first plot. Duke Robert has decided it's time for his spouse Joan to depart this world. So we're going to work on that. And of course, she's a member of the Bygod family, which is a hugely powerful family in medieval England, especially in the early time. They were the Dukes of Norfolk for a long time until that went to the Howards. So we're going to start working on that plot behind the scenes. I've appointed my new council here in Westmoreland, and we're going to continue trying to fabricate this claim on Cumberland, which I've been working on forever and just has never gone anywhere, no matter what I've done. Okay. Pressing on. Oh, we need a ambition. Improve my intrigue, since that's what we're working on right now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this intrigue. We're going to auto-invite people to this plot and see if we can get anybody else. It actually looks like nobody else is able to be invited at the moment. Nobody's on board with this, so I'm going to have it rough trying to see Duchess Joan the Lame dead right now. I'm going to have to probably find another way to make this happen. One thing I have is a lot of money, so I'm wondering if maybe I go in and start trying to get some of these more influential folks on my side. through some bribes. See if we can do that. So, no, he won't do it on his own, but maybe if we start sending gifts, they might start to change their mind. None of them are even kind of on the fence. Sometimes you get that on the fence look, but they all like my wife better than they like me, and that seems to be the problem. You can see that since they're all courtiers in Norfolk, their allegiance lies primarily to her, and that's where I'm running into issues with being able to make this happen. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and spend some of this wealth I have going for me right now. Let's take a look. We don't have any of these kind of basic things that we probably should have. Personal training yard. These are things that are going to help not only me, but help my future heirs as well. Oh boy. Emperor Alexander the Confessor has revoked the county of Suffolk from Duchess Joan the Lame, who's now apparently in prison. Who's he given it to is the question mark. He's revoked some other duchies as well. He destroyed the title Kingdom of England. I think that had already happened. So now who... I'm now the Duke of East Anglia? Okay, am I actually the Duke, or am I just kind of ruling in someone else's name is the question mark? Because it's still showing her as the the Duchess of East Anglia. The real question, the way that we can kind of tell this is by... First of all, let's look. Okay, see, it's still showing her there. County of Norfolk. I don't know. Not entirely sure what's going on here. The question is, can I choose a wife? No, I still can't. So that didn't really change anything. It just changed one of the titles. All right, now he's created the Duchy of Lancaster. Whoa, everybody's off to crusade. Look at all those troops on their way. And no, I'm not a part of it. Interesting stuff, but no. The Catholic Crusade for Canham. Do I join the crusade? I guess I can at least pledge my support. No. Duke Robert of East Anglia has accepted the call to arms from Pope Callistus III. Yeah. Who's my beneficiary? There we go. All right. Have fun with that. If I need to make a decision if I should comply with papal will or go on my own way when it comes to the distribution of the titles in the case of a victory in the Crusades. Why would I give my titles away? My beneficiary will get the titles. Fine, no problem. I don't really care too much about that. It's probably a good time I could be kind of trying to usurp things if I had the ability to do that while everybody's off on crusade. But Richard is such a caring half-brother, always ready to lighten up the mood during a somber family dinner or play with the children. Even though we may disagree from time to time, I cannot deny his accomplishments as half-brother. Yay, Richard. I could get the Emperor on my side, maybe with a little gift. He's kind of... Oh, 327. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if you're going to get an Emperor on your side, that's what it's going to cost, right? We're trying to get him on my side on this this plot to kill my wife. Let's see if that does anything at all. He has a much better opinion of me than he does of Duchess Joan, and that would certainly add some credibility to my cause. But that was a very costly way of going about it. All right, I have arrived for the crusade. Our armies now stand poised to take part in the crusade for the Kingdom of Canham. It dawns on you one day there are plenty of intrigue happening right under your nose. Okay. So this is a way of helping my intrigue score. I lost my Chancellor. Need a new one. I improved my intrigue, so now I have to pick a new ambition. I'd like to see an ambition where, like, see my wife die, but I don't think that's going to happen, so. The crusade is over. The Pope has won. Praise God. Also, praise God for the fact that the Emperor is now a part of my plot to kill my wife. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're at 58% plot power. I don't know if that's nearly enough, but man, it would suck if in the midst of trying to plot to kill my wife, I end up being the one who dies. Neither you nor your troops have partaken in the crusade. I thought I did. I was over there. What's the problem? Oh well. I feel better. That's good news. Always having to assign these guardians. Joanna de Clifford is now of legal age. She became an indulgent wastrel. I'm going to call one of my kids that someday. You indulgent wastrel. It's not true. They're not like that at all. My kids are great, but it just sounds fun to say. All right, so let's take a look at where things stand with this plot, because I've added a couple of new folks to it. Duke Walter of Cumbria and also the Bishop Hamish of Dunkeld. So we're gaining plot power. Oh, did it work? At age 43, your wife, Duchess Joan of East Anglia, died in the dungeons of Emperor Alexander of Alba. So bye-bye. Now, that title obviously now goes to my son, who is the Duke of East Anglia and heir to the county of Westmoreland. So now I need to die so that my son can become me. So that's kind of where things stand at this point, is we want that to happen. I still don't have control over him because he's technically a separate realm from mine, but those things will be united in a personal union once I become him. So that's kind of the goal now, is to off myself. But in the meantime, I'm going to marry someone, and we've got a princess of Alba. That certainly can't hurt to marry the emperor's relative. And we're going to take the gold, not the prestige. So how is she related? Let's see. Oh, she's the daughter of the emperor, so it doesn't hurt to have my emperor as my father-in-law. So I'm going ahead and building a castle library now, which is going to give me a bunch of little bonuses, but it was super expensive. My acquaintance, Gregory de Clifford, has died after a period of illness. Let's take a look at where oh, I have just the person in mind. I need to marry my half-sister off. So siblings, siblings, siblings. Constance. She's married. There's a lot of deaths happening right now. So we married her to our cousin. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. As my daughter would say, it'd be like that sometimes. All right, so I've got an unmarried daughter because her husband died, Earl Randolph of Lancaster, and she never had any children with him. So that's unfortunate, because that would have helped. My grandchild would have been the Earl of Lancaster. So now we're going to remarry her, and it looks like we've got a Prince of Alba. He's not the oldest son, but he's still a prince, and so probably a child of the emperor. So that's another familial match into the house that currently rules the kingdom, or the empire that I'm a part of. So let's take a look at the empire that I'm a part of for just a second, because a couple of things are interesting. The oldest son of Emperor Alexander the Confessor, who's now 68, is his son Gilroy the Sword of Jesus, which is an awesome name, by the way. But he apparently was given the kingdom that we took during the Crusade, because he's the king of Canem, and so therefore is not the heir to the Empire of Alba. That instead goes to Macbeth, who is the Duke of Lancaster and stands to become the new emperor when the time comes. So that's where things stand with that. I personally am 52 years old, so I may live a while yet, but I'm patiently waiting for myself to die so I can finally get control of the Duchy of East Anglia. You can see I am now, my son is married to a woman named Aileen, who's older than him and has not yet provided any kind of children, and doesn't seem to be anything of any importance, just some random woman. So not who I would have chosen for him. So the British and Holy Roman de jure war over Cornwall. Interesting. And no sooner had I talked about that than Emperor Alexander has died. And so I have a new liege. And yes, his name is Macbeth, which is kind of amazing. Macbeth, all hail Emperor Macbeth. Oh, we've got ourselves a major civil war broken out, and the goal is to lower crown authority. I am definitely going to stay the heck out of this one, but the crown was already at war with the Holy Roman Emperor. So we've got emperors going up against each other, and you can see there have been some major battles. 44,000 troops involved in this one, 46,000 involved in this one. But for the most part, the Holy Roman Emperor has been on the winning end of those things. So there's a lot of wars going on right now that I'm just going to sit back and watch unfold. What we were looking for has at last happened. I am now Duke Andrew. That's great news. So for the first time now, I have expanded my territory. I am the Duke of East Anglia, the Steward of Alba, and I am also the Earl of Westmoreland. And so I think we'll probably stop right there because we've got a whole bunch of new possibilities now open to us. I report now directly to the Emperor Macbeth the Noble. And now we can start thinking about what comes next. We've only got, maybe 100 years or so left in the game, unless there's some mod that I can add that will allow me to continue to play past that time. I think this game only goes into the mid-1400s. So I intentionally started it late so that this series would be a short one because I know that it can take a long time for each episode. And this would hopefully be a springboard to future series where I do start maybe in 700 or 800 AD instead and have a nice long series once we see if there's a following for it. So Duke Andrew has a son, Robert Fitzalan, but he's a bastard. So I need to try and have a legitimate son, but I doubt that's going to happen from this wife that I did not choose because she's 36 years old and hasn't produced a child as of yet. So we're going to have to get a legitimate heir to pass this kingdom on to. But now I'm only 23 years old, so I should be controlling Duke Andrew for a while. And a lot of possibilities. So let me know your thoughts. Use that comment section below. We'll come back in about a week or so with the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching.